Hey y'all, and welcome to Skyrim Scripting. On this episode, we're going to show you how you can package your Skyrim mod for distribution on a site like Nexus Mods or GitHub. So let's get started. First, we're going to need a mod. So I'm going to make a mod that I've made a couple times before. It'll just, whenever the player walks around and picks something up, it'll print out a line of text, and we'll call it pickup lines. Because when you pick up the text, ta-da, cool. So let's do this now. Let's make a pickup lines profile, turn off the meep. Let's make a new empty mod called pickup lines, and let's tell creation kit that it should save its files inside of pickup lines. Woo! Here we go. Off to the races. All right, I'll turn it on. And I want you to have a couple things to package. So I want to have a texture. I want to have a maybe translation files. I want to have some scripts. So maybe we'll have a mod configuration menu that just turns it on and off. Which maybe we'll just set a global variable, which the active magical effect, if we use that, will be based off of. So you'll do pickup lines if some global variable is set. So let's say, let's close all these and go to miscellaneous global new. Let's do everybody likes a float, but we'll do a short because it's just on and off. Pickup lines enabled. Boop. Cool. Let's make our quest. We may as well get that out of the way while I'm thinking about what else to do. We'll do pickup lines quest. We'll give it a script for the MCM menu, the mod configuration menu. We'll call it pickup lines MCM. Keep it extending quest for right now, and we'll change that in the code. And this can be in mod configuration menu for pickup lines. Okay. So normally I would do a quest alias to get a reference to the player. Oh, we can still do that. Player ref, not red, ref, specific reference, select forced reference, cell any, it'll auto-populate. We've done this a million times before. We don't need a script because we're going to attach a spell, and the spell will have an effect, and while the spell kind of runs as an ability based on the global variable being set, the pickup lines feature will go on and off. So let's go make a spell. For the spell we need the effect. And the effect is what's going to have the code in it. So, magical effect. Pickup lines effect. It needs a name for a spell to be able to use it. Sure, just pickup lines. It'll be a constant effect. Save it so that then we can reopen it and attach a Papyrus script. New script. We'll call it pickup lines effect script. And that's the main one that will actually subscribe to when the player picks up items. Cool. Let's make a spell. Just want to make some stuff so that our let's save this thing. Pickup lines. Ooh. Make a spell that we will give to the player via the player ref. Pickup line spell. Doesn't really need a name. So I'll keep that blank. It's an ability, and we go and we grab pickup lines effect. And we should be good. Now we'll give that to, let me save, and we'll give that to our player via the quest. Oh, we never open up Skyrim. That's adorable. Do you have to? Do you have to rely on Skyrim? Will it work if you don't have a dependency on Skyrim? We don't need a dependency on Skyrim. I'm not going to try that right now. I always open up Skyrim just like I always do. And who cares if you have a dependency on Skyrim, because like everyone does. But I don't think anything we're doing specifically actually refers to any Skyrim objects or anything. Anyway, I'm wasting time. Let's go to our player reference, and we'll add this spell. So they get this spell at the beginning of the game, which means that the effect will be there. We need to add the condition for the effect so that the global variable turns it on and off. So we're adding an existing spell, and we'll just search for pickup lines. There's our spell. Now back over in the spell, we'll open up the effects, and we'll say that this is conditional based on get global value. We'll look for our pickup lines, enabled global, and that's a float. And if it's greater than 0, then the pickup lines effect will come into effect. Cool. Take it. Save. Close. Let's open up code and turn this into a Papyrus project. So we just go to the cute little scroll, the 3 dots, generate the project files, go to our mods, open up pickup lines, select folder, cool deal, and we can go to our little explorer and find it here. Not Papyrus util, I want pickup lines. Boop, and it opens up the workspace. So we have our source files here. Here's our MCM menu. We can make that real quick if we want to. Go away, PowerShell. Event on config init and event. We can we need to make this a Sky config base, not a quest. But we don't have the SkyUI SDK imported. So we go to our project files to where our imports are. I'm going to uncomment this example one. And we're going to want SKSE so that we can print out the names of objects, because get name is SKSE. So let's pull in SKSE and the SkyUI SDK, as we've done in previous episodes. So we'll go to our imports where we can find SkyUI's scripts source. This has the config base, which is what we need to inherit from, aka extends Sky config base. And we need to go to our mods, SKSE64 scripts source, where these PSE files are. So we need the form file on here, so that we can call form.getName. So I'm just going to close and reopen code, because that helps it read these imports just a lot faster. And that means that I can already type sky config base and it'll complete, and I can type mod name and it'll complete, and we can set this to something. We can set it to pickup lines. But we can also set this to like mod name, and we can make pages equals a new string array, and we'll make one page called settings. We could also translate it with settings. Save. We'll translate it in a bit. Let's make the, do you want to do the translations right now? We just make a new folder called interface, and then a new folder called translations, and then whatever our ESP is called, in this case pickup lines, we make a that underscore language name. So pickup lines underscore English. The capitalization doesn't matter. .txt. Now there's two major gotchas about this. If I just type mod name tab pickup lines and settings tab settings, ooh, this actually remembers it from my practice session. Let me make another file and I'll call it foo-mod english.txt. Here we go. If you make foo-mod and you type mod name tab pickup lines settings tab settings, what happens is by default these are spaces. So we need to update this file to use tabs. Doesn't matter what size, but these need to be tabs. So we'll tab, and we'll tab. It looks the same size, but now we can select this and see that it's one tab. It's not 4 spaces. The other thing is, by default, VS Code and a number of editors will make their text files as UTF-8 encoded. Skyrim won't read those files. You need to go to the bottom right where it says UTF-8 and you need to reopen this file with a different encoding. We're going to reopen it with UTF-16LE. Now it's going to change the characters, but we can just hit Control-Z to undo that. Hit save, and we have now saved this file as UTF-16LE. Now I'm going to delete this because I practiced this right before recording. And apparently VS Code remembered that pickup lines English is supposed to be UTF-16. But it didn't remember tabs. Cool. Hopefully that'll work now. But let's go make the effect real quick. This is where when the global variable is set, which we need a reference to. So we need a reference to global variable as a property. Pickup lines enabled auto. Compile this and we'll open up CK in the background. It should open up really quickly. So let's attach that property real quick right now. Because the effect, do we need a reference to that global variable? The effect is turned on and off based off of the global variable. We don't need to know the value of it. Forget that. Never mind. We don't need that. We just need to know when we're turned on and when we're turned off. So event on effect start actor target actor caster and on effect finish. When that global variable is set to true, which I forget when we were going to do that, under which circumstances. Based on the MCM menu. Right. Then when it's turned on, we want to start listening to on item added. So let's just go to state watching items being picked up, whatever. And then go to state, I forget, how do you go to like just the default? I was gonna guess this, but I think it's just empty quotes. Cool, so we want this state and inside that state, then we will listen for the items. So when we're watching, we'll have an event on item added. You can find this on creationkit.com. I just remember that it takes a form item, it gets a int count, it gets an object reference to the item ref if there is one, like if it's a unique item in the world. I think that's when it'll give it, and there's a reference to the container. And we'll just do debug messages. Ooh, let's translate this though. Like you picked up a space you or some number, and we'll do count and like an X, so 5 times, and the item get name. We have get name because we pulled in SKSE. So let's add you picked up. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know if you can mix strings like that and have the translation work, but I hope so. I haven't tried it in a long time. Oops. Cool. Now I think this will be angry because we didn't implement a on item added out here. No, it's cool. It's cool. I've had that get peeved at me before. So the default value of the global variable is probably 0, so it's not going to work. I kind of want it to be 1 so that we can try it right now. Let's just configure the MCM really quickly so that we can go into the MCM and enable it. Blah, blah. We want all these features so that we can bundle up something that's useful. Blah. So event on page reset string page. If the page equals nothing, then you're looking at just the base page. You didn't click into any pages like settings. Else if the page equals settings, then we want to do something else. We want to like show an option to toggle the global variable on and off. So this is what needs a reference to the global variable. The MCM menu does. Global variable, property, pickup lines enabled, auto, save, build. $17 in. Okay, and we've almost got a working thing with an MCM menu and stuff. It's okay, it's not bad. Do I want to be showing you how to package up BSAs and stuff right now? Yeah. I want to show you a brief glimpse into a real mod though. If I just make a hello world, then this is not going to be as useful, in my opinion. I'll have other smaller screencasts that just focus on packaging. That'll be like 15 minutes or something. And I'll start it with like, here's a mod that I've already worked on, and here we're going to package it. But in this screencast series, the 12 episode series, of which this is the last episode except for the closing one next, I want to leave you with a realistic-ish mod. So we're going to go to our global for pickup lines. That's set to 0. We need to go to our MCM menu and set the properties. I've had this happen to me before. Just specifically with SkyUI. Usually if I compile things outside of CreationKit and then try and load the properties in CreationKit, it's fine. But there's something about the SkyUI SDK where the CreationKit wants to be able to see it. It's really annoying. Like, it wants to be able to see those files. So here's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to keep my setup set up like this. Here's where I have the SDK. I'm just going to copy this into the mods. Or I could keep it in mods. I'll keep it in mods and I'll get rid of it from imports, and I'll update our import path to the SDK to come from mods. I'm putting it in mods so that I can enable it with, I'll close this and I'll reopen it, so that I can refresh this and enable it, and this will allow, if we look in here and refresh, the game to see this config base. Now if I don't have that enabled, do I have SkyUI though? Even with SkyUI, you don't get the config base, so you need to download the SDK turn that on, and here's what the data view will look like. Sky config base. It won't work without being able to see sky config base. It just can't load that script. It's compiled with a thing that it doesn't know about, if that makes sense. There's a new LaCroix, black raspberry. I've never tried it. Raspberry with Z's. Pickup lines, quest, MCM properties. Here we go. You can see the mod name, pages. We're setting those manually in our code. But here's the global variable. So let's edit that and set it to our pickup lines enabled variable. Okay. And save. And now we're hooked up. We're hooked up to that global variable. So our MCM menu can change it. Now let's just add a toggle. So SkyUI SDK. We'll just add a toggle that'll turn it on and off. We'll use a state option, which is the latest way of doing options. And I'm like legit just going to copy this. And an RMCM script. Let me copy this. Here's how they add a toggle option with an identifier and a name. We can change settings to like install, enable. Settings is fine. I'll call this toggle enabled, and it'll be called, so that's the state name, and the text will just show up as enabled. Now we make the state called toggle enabled, and for every widget, every little toggle or text box or whatever in your MCM menu, it has its own separate state. And the state has a couple functions for things like what to do when you highlight your mouse over it. So enable pickup lines. Some of you have probably noticed that I forgot to do this. Cool. And so we did add toggle option. So here's the default. The default will come from whether or not the global variable is currently enabled. So let's just say I like big S, big E, big E, big E. For consistency, because we're going to put this on GitHub momentarily. Cool. We add this one toggle, and so we're going to add a function. It could be like pickup lines utility or something. I won't do this. I won't waste our time with this because it would need a reference to the global variable. We'll just say function is mod enabled, end function, which returns a bool, and we'll do function disable mod, end function, function enable mod, end function. This will return if pickup lines enabled dot get int value is greater than 0. enable will set pickup lines enabled, set int value to 1. Disable will set it to 0. So the default value is mod enabled. Then we'll set it to is mod enabled. So those are text options. We want to set toggle option value is mod enabled. On select, if is mod enabled, else, and if disable mod, otherwise enable mod. Cool. I think that's doable. We don't have a texture yet. I don't know if we'll have time to add one. We need SKSC because we have SkyUI, and we don't need anything else. Mm, 26 minutes? Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We got this. Alright, now let's wait for the top left to say that we registered a menu, which we did. Isn't showing up. Did we enable our mod? We totally didn't. Boop. Boop. It shows up on the left as enabled, but we never actually enabled the ESP once it got created. Alright, wait for the MCM menu now. It'll say 1 or 2 menus registered, 2 new menus. That's what we want. Pickup lines. That's translated. Settings. That's translated. Enabled. That's translated. Ooh, enable pickup lines down in the bottom. Not translated. Enable pickup lines. Enable pickup lines. Followed by, those are spaces. How'd these spaces get in here? How'd those spaces get in there? How'd those spaces get in there? Tabs, always tabs. Convert indentation to tabs. Tab. Tab. Jeez. Jeepers creepers. I was going crazy. You're wasting my audience's time there, Visual Studio Code. Changing things back to spaces. It's not very nice. It's not very nice at all. Keep them tabs. Let's do, because it's tabs, you can actually put spaces in your key name. You can do hello space world tab hello world, or in another language or whatever, and it works. You just need a tab delimiter. So pickup lines, settings, let's hover, enable pickup lines mod. Woo! Ooh, why was it on by default? Your character is not detecting when they pick up stuff right now. Ooh, they did. So you picked up, didn't work. I don't think you can combine strings like that. I wasn't sure. I'm glad we tried. So it's this you picked up combined with other stuff. Let's make it a notification. Just to try and see. Just to see if it has a difference. And what's the deal with it being enabled by default? Oh, here we go. True. If we hover over this, it says whether it's checked or not. Is mod enabled? Save. Compile. Okay. 30 minutes. We might be able to add a DDS real quick. So I want translation files. I want PEX files. I want PSC files. I want an ESP file. Love it when it rains. Turned off by default. Oop. Ooh. We check it. It's not toggling. Is the mod enabled? So it'll hit no. So we enable the mod. Maybe it takes just a second before it is mod enabled, before that global value gets saved properly. I don't like what I'm doing right now. But I'm going to try it anyway. Like I'm enabling it and then turning the thing to set it to checked instead of setting it to be from checking whether or not it's really enabled or not. I feel good about this. I feel good about this one. Hey troll. Let's drop a thing. Let's drop a longbow. Let's pick it up. No message. Let's go to our MCM menu. Settings. Let's turn it on. Gets turned on. Drop a thing. You picked up 1 times longbow. So, looks like we can't do the translation of a mixed message like that. So let's fix it right now. And we'll have to say you picked up. Get rid of that in here. It's a bummer. If someone knows how to do that, video description, comments below. So cool, compile. Anything else we need to do? I guess we don't have a texture, and right now if you go to the mod configuration and pickup lines, nothing shows up. Everybody likes a logo. Everybody likes to have a cute little logo. Do you want a logo? Do you want a logo? And then we'll package it up, because it's going to go into a textures BSA, and I want to show you how to make the textures BSA, and if I want to make the textures BSA, we need a texture. So, I don't know, let's go to like a public domain website. Now this one can have boobies, so let's do children playing to make sure we can turn on safe mode. Cool, safe search is right here, I already checked it. Pick up. What happens if I type in pickup lions? Oh, we get pickups. Pick up forward, pick up. Pick up hand. Sure, that's picking up a thing. It's picking up a thing. Sure, I guess, maybe. It's kind of picking up a thing. Oh, this is iStock. It's not one of these. Oh, we couldn't find any matches. Whatever, let's take a truck. It's a pickup. It counts. I think I need to log in to get the big size. And I don't have my credentials right now. Download. Save into my downloads. May actually be cool. Let's make a texture. Super quick. It's not going to be like a texture that has a mesh. It's just going to be an image that we turn into a texture. Which is kind of hacky. But whatever, it'll work. Make a new file that has the dimensions 768 by 444. Give it transparency as a background fill. Let's go to our downloads. Whoop. Here's the truck. Layer, scale layer. It won't be 768, 768 scale. Make it a little bit smaller. Cool. Let's draw on it. Let's trick it out because we're Skyrim people. We'll let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's put dragon font on it, and then we'll just deploy it. Scale layer. Sure, I like that. I'm going to save it as C Skyrim, my mods, pickup lines, and I'm just going to make a new folder called like images. Save. And in my images folder, here for this screencast series, let's just put pickup lines up here in the quick access for this episode. In images, let's move over the truck. Let's add a little attribution file. Attribution. I just do it so I can always remember where I got the image. These are public domain. The dragon font, on the other hand, which I have in another project here somewhere, I just happen to have here. I don't need that font. Here's the dragon font. This is Creative Commons share alike, so this one needs attribution. Just make sure it's installed. Cool, it's already installed. If you haven't installed it, you'll need to restart GIMP afterwards. So let's just draw on this. And we'll say in Skyrim language, pick up lines, and we'll make it smaller. And we'll move it so it looks like it's on the truck. Cool, we tattooed a truck. Ta-da, we're done. File, save as. I meant to save it as pick up lines MCM logo or something. We can get rid of the untitled one. And now let's squish all the layers, merge down, merge down. If you don't do that, then the DDS you generate will just be of the bottom layer. It won't be the whole image. So let's do export as, and I'm going to put it in pickup lines interface. Instead of translations, I'm going to make a folder called pickup lines, and then I'm just going to do mcm.ds. And we're going to want DTX5 from the compression menu. Export. And we're done. And we have an interface. Let's hook it up to the MCM menu. We just go to MCM. If the page hasn't been selected yet, then what we'll do is we'll load custom content. This path is relative to interface, so it's interface slash pickup line slash mcm.dds. So we just do pickup line slash mcm.dds. And what you really want to do is do that if the page is nothing else. Come on, and unload the custom content so you don't end up accidentally drawing your toggle switches on top of it. And then you put your ifs below in a different way like this. So let's just compile it and see it work, and then we can package up our mod, put it on GitHub, and then let's see what it would be like if we wanted to put it on Nexus. $40, that's kind of a bummer. But this is the second to last episode in the series, and if I didn't point it out earlier, I want you to have a real-ish mod. So, COC, Riverwood, stuff that you're proud of. You can put a cute image with transparency. You can have a mod configuration menu. Woo! That does stuff. It's like a real mod, right? Pickup lines, it's translations. So there's your thing. Ta-da! It's called pickup lines. Ta-da! And we can turn it on, or we can turn it off. Can we turn it off? We might have to go back. On. Might have to fix something. Not shown as on. We gotta fix this before we deploy our mod. Oh, we're so close. That blows. Set it to is mod enabled. Oh my god. That's why this wasn't working. Did you see the bug? Yeah, it was always returning none because it didn't return anything. Much better. Much better. What a bug. I wish there were test frameworks for Skyrim. Most other programming languages you work in will have a thing called unit testing frameworks or integration or acceptance testing frameworks. There's probably some, I bet Bethesda has something, but games are notoriously hard for that. If anybody has anything that they know about testing Skyrim, like unit testing, I would love to know. Post it in the comments. It's off, we turn it on. It's on, we turn it off. Or we turn it on, or we turn it off. Cool. Before we bundle this, let's just make sure it works. Let's drop some stuff. Don't freak out, SkyUI. Oh, how many? Sure, drop 1 million of them. I don't care. Pick up some stuff. Nothing happens. Pick up the thing. Nothing happens. Let's turn this on in the menu. Now, instead of showing that obnoxious logo, also make it so that when the page equals empty quote, you can render your options there. It's a little bit arrogant to have the logos, but it's cute. You picked up 10 times lockpick. Woohoo! It's not plural, but that's fine. Let's peace out. Let's bundle this up, yo! Woo! We're done. We're ready. Let's close all this stuff. We want to end up with a one of two things. So here's the deal. You want to deploy your stuff as like a zip file, an archive. Could be 7-zip, RAR, or zip. This will do zip by default. I wish it did 7-zip, but I don't know. I can't complain. There might be a way to configure it. And inside that zip file, we want the ESP, the Elder Scrolls plugin. We want a BSA with all the textures. We want a BSA with everything that's not textures, including the PEX scripts, the translation files, except there's one gotcha. The PSC files, where did they go? Now, if you want your mod to be like callable from other people, then you want your PSC files outside of the BSA so that other modders can really easily reference them without having to extract your stupid BSA. Now, nobody's going to use this for anything. I'll just show you both ways. And we'll package it all up together, so assuming that no one is going to use our scripts for anything. But you can't necessarily always make that assumption, so we'll see. So we're going to our project file. And the most important options here are package and zip. So here's what's going to happen. If I do package and just turn it on, that's it. Then this area of the project of the XML file is going to run. It will make a BSA called mod name. Now that comes from here, so if we do it right now, I turn this off and I'll tell you why in a second. If we do it right now, I'll Control-Shift-B, we get a change the mod name here BSA. Cool. We don't want that, so we go here and we set our mod name to pickup lines. We can delete this one, and we'll build again. Here's a pickup lines BSA. Let's open this up in Explorer so that we can open it up in BAE. It comes with the scripts and the script source, so we need to add more to it. Just uncomment this line, and it'll include the translation files. Just build again. Where'd we go? Where's our thing again? Pickup lines, BSA. Now the translations are in there. Cool. We're missing a textures BSA, so just uncomment this. Just highlight that and Control, then the question mark / key. This will make the mod name textures, and it'll just find everything in the mod that's DDS, and it'll keep its folder structure. So if it finds foo/DDS, it'll package foo/DDS. If it finds foo_baz DDS, it'll package foo_baz DDS. So now we can see we have a pickup lines textures, and it has our interface pickup lines mcm.dds. Now, the only thing I'll show you now is if we wanted to keep our scripts separate, what we could do is instead of packaging the script source, we would just comment this line out, and the BSA would include the PEX files and the translations. Now we'll save and build. And then when the zip file gets created, we want the source files to go in there. Now it has the scripts, but it doesn't have the PSC source. So now let's move on to zip. So let's turn on zip. Now I will tell you why I turned this off. This thing, if it's turned on, which it is by default, will, once the build finishes running, it deletes all the BSA files. So if I run this and I build, the BSA files go away. Why would I want that? Well, what happens is if you turn on the zip, it creates the BSA files and zips them, and then that post-build event will delete the BSAs, because I don't want the BSAs hanging out. I just want the zip file. So the zip file by default will get created in a build folder, so you'll just see a build folder show up, although you could put it in just the current directory, which you use dot for. The zip file will be called your mod name.zip. It will include the ESP file. It'll include all BSA files. Now what we could do is we could include all the script sources as well. We're just going to copy that match line from above. Now let's enable zip. And build. And you get a pickup line zip. Now let's look at it. Pickup line zip. It has scripts with the source directory. So that means that when this gets installed by a mod manager, it ends up in a folder like our mods here. So like Papyrus util is something we installed with a mod manager, and it has a loose scripts folder with source. It doesn't use BSAs. Now, you don't have to use BSAs at all if you don't want to. You could just configure the zip thing to have all of this. You could move this down here, comment out the textures package. You could put the translations and the scripts in here. We could just completely turn off packaging. And this will give you a completely loose version of your mod, which can be popular with some folks. Control-Shift-B. Failed to something, line 30. Glitch comment out the entire packages area. Control-Shift-B. Oops, this didn't get commented out. Control-Shift-B. I'm going to undo all this stuff in a second. Now if we look at our zip file, there's no BSA. We have the interface, which has the DDS texture. It has the translation file. We have the scripts, which have the PEX, and we have the source. So you can do a completely loosely packaged mod, which is wonderful. The only thing that is a downside so the downside of this is textures, if you have lots of them, and if they're big or something, are more efficient through a BSA. Textures, nothing else really matters. And the only other thing is if you have PSC source code files, which other modders might want to read, don't include them in the BSA, please, 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 please. But let's undo this, and let's put our PSC files into our BSA, because I don't think other people care. There. Turn this back on. Instead of build, we can put this in a local directory. I kind of like that better than build. I should update the template. Save. Get rid of this zip. Build it again. See a new zip. And there you go. Has our interface, everything like that. If we wanted to, we could try and install this with a mod manager. Let's do this. We're going to put it on GitHub and then look at how to put it on Nexus. But if we wanted to, let's go to pickup lines. So we'll go to mods. Let's unpin this because it's about to go away. I'm going to rename pickup lines to no, cancel. I didn't need to rename that thing. Pickup lines foo or temp. Okay. Now let's go to mod organizer 2. It has this pickup lines temp that it detected, but it doesn't know about pickup lines. Okay, so let's install a new mod, install mod, and we could pretend that we just downloaded this. We'll put it in our downloads folder. So we'll go to our downloads folder, and we could actually do this from GitHub in a moment. We'll go to temp. And let's move our zip file over to downloads. It's like we just downloaded it. Ooh, we'll go to downloads. Here's our pickup line zip. We call it pickup lines. Turn it on. Let's try it. This is a packaged mod. It's everything is in the BSAs. This is not reading the code that we wrote before. It's reading it through what got extracted from a zip file. This is what your users will encounter. Wait for that menu on the top left. Translations are working. This appears to be working. My shield. Let me take off this stupid helmet. And let's pick it up. You picked up 1 times iron helmet. Cool. Now let's release it on GitHub first. So for that, because I have a pretty fresh PC because I reformatted it for this 12-episode screencasting series. I don't have Git or GitHub, I don't think. Let me look for GitHub. Nope, I didn't install it yet. I was going to do it in the last episode, I think. But whatever. Git download, GitHub download. You want the app. You're going to want the app. If you're on Windows, which you are because you're modding, you want the app. And I don't think you actually need Git and GitHub, but I recommend it. There's this thing called Git Bash, which if you are coming from Mac or Linux, can be super, super useful. So this might make the screen go black. And it did, and I had to click yes. I don't need the Git GUI, but I do want Git Bash here. And just next to install. I'll say Git is optional. I think it's included in GitHub, and GitHub probably has its own little Git version. So now we'll do GitHub, and I don't remember if the screen goes black or not. I bet it does. No, it doesn't. It pops up this box here, and then it's going to ask me to log in. Let me grab my credentials from off screen. GitHub for my fake user. Sure, always allow. Choose desktop Git, that's great. Logs in, sure, cool. There's my email address for this fake account. We can create a repository here, or we can just go to GitHub, which is what you're more likely to do. And we're going to go new repository, and we'll call it pickup lines Skyrim mod, which prints out whatever items you pick up. Public is goofy. You can keep it private while you work on it, and then at some point you should make it public, or be better actually, just always make it public. I'm going to add for screencasting tutorial. You can add stuff to it and then add other stuff. There's a couple ways to do this. Let me try GitHub file. New repository. Let's just do it via the website. Add a README file, add a license, choose MIT. You can choose whatever you want, just don't choose GNU General Public License 3. No, don't do it. Unless you are very advanced and know exactly why you're picking it. Do not pick that. I recommend MIT. Cool. Now let's clone it. We'll filter our repositories, or we'll say a clone repository, and we'll search for pickup lines. It might need to refresh. Pickup lines. This is where we decide where to put it. So here's what I normally do. I kind of let it put it wherever. So I'm just going to clone this. Okay. Now I'm going to view, open the repository in Explorer. I'm going to open up a side-by-side Explorer. I'm going to go to my mods. I'm going to go to pickup lines. That's the one we installed from the mod managers. I'll take the temp one and make it a reclaim it. This is our original one with all of our stuff. I'm going to take these files over here, the README, the license, and the Git. I'm just going to move them over here. Okay, then I'm going to close this. Now go back to GitHub, and it's going to freak out. It's going to be like, I can't find this. So locate, go to your mods, go to pickup line, select folder. Now it sees all your new stuff. You can say like initial commit. It's called commit whenever you save. You can say initial save, whatever you want. And you can add a description if you want to. But you need a short description. Commit to main. Push. Refresh the website. There's all of our files, which is pretty cool. Let's put our little logo here because that seems reasonable. So you can just go to repository, open up in Visual Studio Code. This is the same as if we went to the code workspace. Open workspace. Workspace just lets us Control-Shift-B and is a little bit better. But regardless, we can open up the README and then just click this little magnifying glass and it'll preview it. So we can use Markdown in here, and we can do like exclamation, brackets, pickup lines, parens, and then link to the images. Ooh, we haven't saved like our cool logo as like a JPEG or anything. It's a DDS, and we can't render a DDS on GitHub. So go to images, open up your file. We're just going to export this as a JPEG real quick. In images, we'll do pickup lines MCM logo, or just like pickup lines.jpg. We'll say yes when it prompts us. We'll export it. We'll close it. If we go to GitHub, it sees that there's a new file here. It shows it to you, but back in our README, we can reference images slash, and you use that slash. I don't know if this one will work. Slash pickup lines.jpg. There's our cool truck. I'll make this, I'll do some work down here. Save, close, added logo, updated README, commit, push. Now we want a release. We want to release it. So there's our thing. Cool. Dig it. We are going to make a new release over here. Create a new release. Give it a version like v1. First release. This mod is for testing purposes for a screencasting tutorial. Sure, why not? And what you want is you want to drag the binaries here. So we're going to go back to our VS Code. We're going to browse to our workspace for pickup lines. Looks like we're there. And we'll go back and turn on the packaging. Zip and package look like they're both on actually. Control-Shift-B. There's pickup lines. We don't want to commit it. What we want to do instead is we want to drag and drop it to the website there. Boop. Public release. Cool. And now we can copy the path to it. Let's copy the link to pickup line zip. And let's turn zip and package off. Let's delete the zip. This is the state we normally want our mod in. We don't want it to always build the package. I mean, you could, but I normally don't want to because I might accidentally commit the zip file. You could go over here and say new file dot git ignore, all one word, say star.zip. Save, and now you'll never accidentally commit the zip file or the BSA files. So it'll notice that, and I'll say added.git ignore BSA and zip files. Push up. Oh, I wanted to add like a download link here or something. just go to like open clip art. Oh, download button. That's a good looking download button. Oh, I want that one. Save image as. Mods, pickup lines, images. I'll keep its original name. I'll copy the link address. I don't know why it's broken, but maybe it'll get fixed later. So I'll copy this address for attribution. Go into images and I'll say attribution. I'll just add this. Those are public domain, so you don't really need this. That's just for me. And then how big is this thingy? Do we need to resize it? Could be giant. Let's open this up in Explorer. Ooh, 800 by something? Ooh. Oh, Nelly. Copy and paste it and call it just download.ping. Open it in Photos. Resize it down to like, I don't know, 200. Put it back in our folder. Mods. Pickup lines. Images. Download. Yes, I want to replace it. See, how big are you? That's a pretty good size. In our README, let's add an image and we'll preview it with this little magnifying glass. Get rid of the sidebar. Download mod. That just says what text happens if you hover over the image, but it's required. Images download.ping. So there's a little download, and then we can make this entire thing a link by wrapping it in brackets, and then we're going to paste the link to our latest release in here. Copy link. Now what you can't do, which is really unfortunate, and I hope someone fixes this, is let's add download link. You can't have mod managers trigger a download from sites like GitHub or Lover's Lab or like any other popular websites where people put their mods. You can only do it from Nexus, and I really hope someone fixes that someday. Tell me if you know how to make NXM links work on any other website, and like I'll love you forever. Please tell me. Added download button. Comes main. Push. Don't forget to push it, or it won't show up on the website. Go to pickup lines. Now we've got this download button, and if we download, we get pickup lines. Cool. Sweet. Then if we look at what we downloaded, pickup lines, it's the SP and the BSA. Ta-da! Just over an hour. Not bad for making a mod that's kind of production ready-ish. Translations, mod configuration menu with logo, scripts, and the mod does something. Anything else we want to do? If we did go to Nexus Mods, there's an upload button, upload a mod. You can put it on your mod page. You choose a game. Choose special edition. Are you uploading a mod or a translation? It's a mod. Try and find a category. Utilities or something. A lot of mine will be, once I upload them, utilities. I prefer making programming utilities than the mods themselves. I want to help y'all make mods. Give it the name, give it the language, a version. Now, I'll tell you one thing about Nexus Mods. When you upload your mod to Nexus Mods, you can never take it down. There's a really good reason for that. People use Nexus Mods as kind of like a repository. There are similarities to the Linux environment, where Linux distributions have repositories, and whenever a new version of Linux comes out, it comes out with thousands of programs like mods, thousands of mods, and they are all kind of snapshotted and they're all available to everyone forever. Those authors of those individual tools can never be like, hey, Ubuntu or Debian or Red Hat or other Linux distribution maker, please take down my thing. You can't, because it would break the world. So there's popular sites like whatchamacallit, what is it, Wabajack? How do you say it? That pull from Nexus mods, and you need to make sure that the certain versions of the certain mod files exist. So there's a reason. Now, there's mod authors who have pulled down all of their content because they don't want that. My recommendation to you is release whatever mods you want for yourself on GitHub. Nobody's going to find them. It's unlikely people are going to find them. Whenever you're ready, if you're ready for your mods to be put in front of the public, put them on Nexus mods, and just know that you're putting it someplace that you can't take it down. So if you push things up with bugs, that's totally fine. Your stuff doesn't have to be perfect. Push whatever you think is interesting. If you think you've got one friend or there's one other person out there who would find this mod useful, I mean, there's a freaking mod that is all about eating brooms. Not even kidding. Eating brooms. I'm drunk, so I made a mod that lets you buy and eat edible brooms. I'm not kidding. Like, so your mod can be better than this. Whatever it is, it'll be better than this. There are no worse mods. And I love this mod, and I should endorse it because it's fantastic, the fact that it exists. So push out whatever you find interesting. Know that you can't pull it down, and know that that's okay. There's a lot of stuff out there about mod authors being disappointed and angry even with Nexus mods because you can no longer pull down files. Just know why it would break a lot of the users setup out there. This is for the users. It's for the folks who are using all of your mods. And so just start to treat Nexus mods a little bit differently. If you want to have your thing that's somewhere between GitHub and Nexus where it'll get some visibility, if you're over the age of 18, then you might want to consider posting your mods to Lovers Lab, which has a lot of not safe for work content, but it has a lot of safe for work content as well. And I've seen recently some folks pushing their mods to Lovers Lab instead of Nexus mods. There's also individual Patreon pages if you're looking for that, but you're probably just a hobbyist and you want to push out your first mod or something like that. So I would recommend pushing things to Nexus, even if it's an edible broom. Seriously. So, what'd you think? We're almost at an hour 15. We installed Skyrim, and then we installed the creation kit, and then we installed mod managers, and then we learned how to code outside of creation kit using Visual Studio. We learned how to use the debugger and watch logs. We installed a ton of different tools to edit all the different files, like BSAs and fuzz files and DES files and NIF files and whatever, ESS save files. We did a Papyrus basics tutorial, which was pretty okay. I think it was like 2 hours long, 2 to 3, because there was a lot to go over. I think it was okay. There's Papyrus basics tutorial whole series out there that probably better than mine, but I think it was fun, and I hope you had fun watching it. And here we are, finally packaging up your mod and getting you ready. So the next episode, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a closing, I guess, monologue, and then I'm posting this shit to YouTube. Woo! And then I'm excited because I've been waiting to post my other tutorials where I'm gonna make mods and make silly, fun utility mods. I hope I have time. I'm about to start a job, and we'll see how long between now and my job. Every day I'm gonna screencast. So let me know if you enjoy this stuff down in the comments. If I'm still screencasting whenever you watch this video, let me know if you want to Twitch or something. I wish there were chat. I wish y'all could tell me what you want me to code, because I just make this shit up as I go. So, peace, and as always, happy modding. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.